Homosexual stories have existed since ancient times, with numerous Chinese emperors throughout history rumored to have had same-sex relationships. However, gay relationships in ancient times were a privilege of the aristocracy, a pleasure they indulged in alongside marriage and procreation. The earliest records go back to the Spring and Autumn and Warring States periods. Duke Ling, the 28th ruler of the state of Wei during the Spring and Autumn period, had a male favorite named Mi Zixia. Born into a prominent family in the state of Jin, Mi Zixia received an excellent education from childhood, possessing exceptional talent and striking beauty. For various reasons, he sought refuge in Wei and won Duke Ling's favor with his intellect and appearance, eventually becoming a general of Wei. One day, while strolling in an orchard with Duke Ling, Mi Zixia plucked a ripe peach, took a bite, and found it irresistibly sweet. He offered the partially eaten peach to the Duke. Duke Ling accepted it, noting the bite marks, but feeling no disgust. Instead, he saw it as an intimate gesture. As he savored the peach, his affection for Mi Zi deepened. Yet as Mi Zixia aged and his beauty faded, Duke Ling's favor waned. When he repeated similar acts, the Duke's attitude shifted dramatically. He rebuked Mi Zixia for offering him a leftover peach, calling it an insult. Thus, sharing a peach became a euphemism for homosexual love. Similar stories also happened during the Warring States period. King Angxi, the 6th ruler of the state of Wei, had a male favorite titled Lord Longyang. His real name lost to history. Renowned for his beauty, Lord Longyang was a prominent figure in Wei. One day, while fishing on a boat with the king, Lord Longyang suddenly wept. He then decreed nationwide that anyone recommending a beauty shall face extermination of their clan. Yet Lord Longyang was more than just beauty. He was Wei's finest swordsman, a skilled diplomat, and the king's intellectual confidant. Since then, the affection of Longyang became synonymous with homosexuality. Let's move forward to the Han Dynasty. Homosexual practices were prevalent among the imperial family, with as many as over 20 emperors rumored to have engaged in homosexual relationships. Consequently, later generations jokingly referred to the keeping of male favorites as a royal tradition of the Han Dynasty. Emperor Wen, the 5th emperor of the Han Dynasty, favored Deng Tong. Honest and skilled at boating, Deng was recruited to row imperial vessels. One day, Emperor Wen had a dream. In the dream, he struggled to ascend to heaven until a man pushed him from behind. Noticing the man's back-tied garment, Wen later spotted Deng wearing identical attire in court. Convinced Deng was the dream figure, Wen lavished him with wealth, titles, and mansions, even granting him the privilege to mint coins. The emperor often visited Deng's residence, bonding closely. Deng reciprocated with fierce loyalty. When Wen developed pus-filled sores on his back, Deng suckled the wounds despite the stench, easing the emperor's pain. This act, repeated often, contrasted sharply with Wen's own son's reluctance to do the same, a slight that foreshadowed Deng's fate. After Wen died, his resentful son seized Deng's property and starved him to death. Emperor Cheng, the 12th emperor of the Han Dynasty, cherished Zheng Fang, his male cousin. Gifted with beauty and wit, Zheng won Cheng's favor early. After ascending the throne, Cheng indulged in wine and pleasure, often sneaking out of the palace disguised as a commoner with Zheng. Together, they reveled, and Zheng even scouted beautiful women for the emperor to please him. Under family pressure, Zheng married the niece of Empress Su and fathered a son. Yet his bond with Cheng deepened. Cheng appointed him palace attendant and general of the household cavalry, granting him privileges equal to a senior general. When Cheng's mother learned of this, she resolved to remove Zheng to correct her son's path. She banished Zheng from the capital on a pretext. At their partying, the two wept bitterly. After Zhang left, Cheng missed him so intensely that he sent letters across vast distances. But as time passed, and Cheng acquired new consorts, Zhang faded from his mind. Heartbroken by Cheng's neglect, Zhang grieved deeply. When Cheng died suddenly, Zhang perished from sorrow. After Cheng died, Ai ascended the throne. When he was still the crown prince, Dong Shan worked as a palace attendant guarding the crown prince's household. They knew each other then, but Dong Xian was just a kid of 13 or 14 and didn't catch the prince's attention much. Later, when Ai became the emperor, officials from his old household got promotions. Dong Xian became a junior officer guarding the palace gates, meaning he saw the emperor even less. When Dong Xian was 18, he was announcing the time one day in the palace courtyard. He was busy admiring his own good looks, thinking he'd become quite handsome. Emperor Ai spotted this self-absorbed young man, thought he looked very attractive and strangely familiar. The emperor chatted with him and promoted him to a close attendant to the emperor who relayed orders. From then on, the two became very close. Emperor Ai was extremely fond of Dong Xian. He kept promoting him, eventually making him the Grand Marshal. He gave him money, houses, married Dong Xian's sister as a consort, and even showered Dong Xian's relatives with rewards. Afraid Dong Xian might be lonely, he even had Dong Xian's wife brought to live in the palace. The emperor often slept in the same bed with Dong Shan, and even had a tomb built for Dong Shan right next to his own tomb. Despite the emperor's deep affection, Dong Shan didn't become arrogant. He served the emperor wholeheartedly, always staying by his side. When the emperor fell ill, Dong Shan stayed in the palace to watch over his medicine. Even when the emperor told him to rest and go home to his wife, Dong Xian refused. One day, while they were resting together during the day, Dong Xian fell asleep with his head on the emperor's sleeve. When the emperor woke up and wanted to get up, Dong Shen, probably exhausted, was still asleep. Emperor Ai, not wanting to disturb him, cut off his own sleep. Their affection was this deep. Later, people used the term cutting the sleeve to describe homosexual love. Emperor Ai was frail and died at the age of 28. Soon after, Dong Xian and his wife were forced to commit suicide. Around 357 AD, Fujian became the third ruler of the former Qin regime. He was a capable emperor, skilled in both civil and military affairs. Once he attacked the former Yan state, which was ruled by the Xianbei people. After conquering former Yan, many of the royal family were taken captive, including the emperor's younger brother, Morongchong, and his sister, Princess Qinghe. At the time, Morongchong and Princess Qinghe were only 12 or 13 years old, but both were considered exceptionally beautiful among the Xianbei. Morongchong especially, though a boy, had lips red as rouge and skin flawless like jade, which utterly captivated Fujian. After getting the brother and sister, Fujian lost interest in all his other concubines. He lavished affection solely on them, bringing them both into his palace to enjoy his favor day and night. People even made up a rhyme about it: a hen and a rooster flying together into the purple palace. Going from a prince to a male favorite was a deep humiliation Morongchong could never forget. From the day Fujian forced him into the palace, hatred burned in Morongchong's heart. He saw this experience as his deepest shame. Eventually, pressured by his prime minister, Fujian reluctantly sent Morongchong out of the palace to become the governor of Pingyang. 14 years later, Morongchong returned with an army. By 385 AD, seeing the city was about to fall, Fujian sent someone to deliver old clothes the two had shared intimately, hoping to stir old feelings. But Morongchong rejected the gesture. Fujian probably never realized that his eventual downfall stemmed from his own passionate feelings that day. These are some of the well-known stories about emperors and their male relationships in Chinese history. Next time, we'll explore lesbian stories from ancient China. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. See you next time.